What's up, guys? Paul from Golfers Authority. Welcome to the Behind the Golf Brand podcast. This week, I have two special guests from Golftrainings.com. I have John Diulus and Emily Faulkner. This is going to be a really cool show because you guys might already know Emily from Instagram, and John is a powerhouse, and he's coming in and taking over the golf world. So this should be a lot of fun, and I'm excited to have him on the show. So welcome to the show today.
We're excited.
Thanks for having us.
All right, so where are you guys located?
So our warehouse is based in West Palm Beach, Florida. We've run the company out of this area for a little over 30 years.
So tell me the story of Golftrainings.com, because they're like an OG golf website. Like, they're one of the originals. I mean, top 10 probably original. So how did that all start?
Yeah, so well, a little sort of we bought the company a little over 8 months ago. We were looking for an e-commerce business, and my business partner and I were avid golfers. I think Ed, my business partner, is a member at like 4 or 5 different clubs. Has been a golf training geek forever, so we decided we wanted to buy a golf training aids company. And we found golftrainingaids.com, reached out to the owner, and literally a couple weeks later, we owned the company. So it was a great acquisition. Loved the business. You
bought it at a good time too, right? Because I mean, golf's up 50% or whatever it is, right?
It's funny how life works. I spent a little over 20 years as an executive in the travel business, and if you were asked most people, I had the sexiest job in the world, being able to travel all over the place. And then the pandemic hit. And we, again, looked for an e-commerce business and found golftrainingaids.com. And my only regret is I didn't do this 20 years ago.
Really?
To work with Emily.
Yeah.
I feel like life is short, right? So it's like, I was telling you before the show, like I quit my job, and I was thinking like, okay, I have 20 years left really doing this, but this is more fun. So it's kind of like, I'm glad I'm doing it now. I mean, it's scary as shit, but I'm glad I'm doing it now because it's like looking back, I'm glad I did that, So it's cool to hear that from you because you've had a good storied career in travel.
Yeah, well, it's hard to say that there's a silver lining from the pandemic, but I think what it trained everybody is to really think about what they want to do with their life. Mm-hmm. You're stuck at home, and you start to think through. I really like the balance of working out of my house. What I really want to do, and then this opportunity came up, and it's just. My wife and I firmly believe in the saying, everything happens for a reason.
Totally.
As a result of the pandemic, we got in the golf business, and I couldn't be happier.
So you're in the travel industry, and you just decided, maybe I want to do something else that's not related to this. So like, how did you even find, like, how'd you know that Golf Training Aids was for sale back then? Like, that's kind of random. Or did you know somebody?
I knew I wanted to get into the e-commerce world. And believe it or not, I bought 2 URLs, Golf Training Aids Depot and Golf Training Aids Warehouse, because I thought there was a gap in the golf industry where, and again, you always look back to your experiences. In the travel business, Expedia was created to be an aggregator of all kinds of product. There really didn't exist. There wasn't a training aids aggregator online. So we were actually going to build something on our own, and I just literally typed in trainingaids.com because I wanted to buy the URL. And the website popped up, and I told my business partner, I said,
"Oh crap!
I think it's a good business. I think we could probably do it better. that maybe we can buy them and expand on the business, and that's exactly what we did.
So when was that?
That was August. Well, we officially bought the business in August of 2021.
Wow.
But the initial conversation happened probably 45 days, almost 2 months before that.
So it's fast.
It happened really fast, yeah.
I mean, then 2 months you have a golf company that's already been running forever.
Well, and I'll tell you the other crazy thing. The owner is an attorney, like
Really?
yourself,
That's cool.
and hated it, and wanted to get out. So he wanted to become an entrepreneur, and we bought this and another business. But we negotiated the sale of the company with him, and he takes his son and his wife. They bought a huge RV, and they drive the country every year during summer. So they spend like 4 months in an RV going west.
Enjoying life, right? Just
Life.
enjoying life.
We literally negotiated the deal at an RV stop.
Shut up, really?
Yeah.
Where was it? Like some small town in the middle of nowhere?
Somewhere in Montana. Yeah.
That's
But
crazy.
I never saw him, right? I didn't see him until we had a Zoom call with one of our other business partners, and he gets on, and he's in this RV for 3 months, and he's got this full beard, and his hair's out to here. So yeah, it was quite an experience.
That is crazy. So this is what I know about golftrainings.com. I know it's been around forever, right? Like literally forever. What year did it start? Emily, do you know, or John?
It's been over 35 years. I think it's in 1985.
Yeah.
Was it like a book based thing, or like a magazine, or a mail flyer thing?
It was a catalog company created by, like I said, Dr. Gary Wiren, who's a Hall of Fame teaching professional.
Yeah, he's really famous.
And he's an amazing person. And they really started the company to provide tools for teaching professionals and PGA pros. It was really never meant to be a retail company. But now golf has exploded.
And e-com exploded.
Yeah. And the retail side of the business now makes up probably 80 to 85% of our business, where it was started as primarily a wholesale company.
So, I mean, golftrainings.com has been around since like when everybody started buying domains, essentially, right?
Yep.
Like probably like mid 90s, maybe even earlier than that, I would assume. I don't know. I was in high school.
So the company, the original name was Golf Around the World.
That's right. It was Golf Around the World. That's exactly what it was. I remember that.
And I give Dane credit. Dane, who works for us now as our GM and head of product. He wanted to get in the retail space, and he's very techy to begin with. And he had the foresight to go out and buy the URL golftrainings.com.
Wow. And I was telling you earlier, like before the show started, like my dad knows Dane well.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I mean, I know Dane because my dad would say, "Oh yeah," and he'd call Dane, and then he would talk to him. I remember like this is in the early 2000s about golf stuff. And so I mean, it's cool to hear all this because like I don't know, my dad always spoke very highly of the Wirens, and it's cool to have you guys here because it's kind of like full circle. Because I remember like sending you product. Like I graduated college. So like here's my story, right? Like I graduated college and I used to be a pilot. So I was like flight training all the time and I was making no money. So I went with my dad. And so he was a consultant. And he's like, "Hey, I started a golf training aid." He's like, "I don't know what to do with it." This is like early internet days. And he's like, "So, would you help me market it?" So I was like, "Sure." I knew nothing about marketing. And so all I did is I just wrote letters to like all the editors of every golf magazine, essentially, like the equipment editor, and be like, hey, my dad invented this, golf training aid, and we mailed it to him, and that's essentially how we got, like, how we met Dane, and I mean, it's just cool. Like, here we are, 20 years later. It's weird.
How long is training aid out for?
My dad's training aid. I mean, we still have it. It's just like, it's called AccuHit, and I'll send you guys one. I think you guys used to carry it a long time ago, but then my dad stopped doing it, but now I own it. So it's just this little grip training aid. It's about as big as that, right? And then it's barrel shaped, and you put it on the grip, and it helps you keep your hands like these fingers apart, and kind of like an oversized grip would do for you, and like kind of make it bigger. And it's, it was cheap and it worked. And I remember, here's a true story. We were in Vegas, and my dad's like, hey, I invented this thing. I was in college, right? And I flew home to my parents. And so he was like, hey, I invented this thing. And I'm like, what is this? I call it the AccuHit. And it's this mangled up rubber thing that he like used like rubber to make it and all this crap. And it was like a hose. And I was like, what is this? He's like, just trust me, it works. And so, dude, sure as shit, man. Like, I like on the driving range, I started using it, and all of a sudden the ball started going straight. And I was like, what did you just invent? This is like the coolest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. Yeah. But I'm not trying to sell it. I'm just saying, like, but it was a long time ago.
The one thing I really liked about this business, well, there's a lot of things I like about it, but one of the things I like is we get to meet people like your father all the time. There are inventors who come to us, partly because Dane has a reputation as someone who is a trusted expert on training aids. But we get people we're in a warehouse, and all of a sudden we'll get someone knocking on the door, and it's like, who's this person? Well, I have this training and I want to show somebody. I think it
Does that really happen?
Oh yeah,
it happens all the time.
For reals? Dude, guys who invent training aids I'm telling you, my dad's like that. Like, he's...
Yep.
Lots of ideas.
Yep.
And so people knock on the door and say, hey, I want to show you this training aid. And you're like, how'd you find us? Right? And then you're like, we're a warehouse. You need to go. No, I'm just kidding. So then let's switch to Emily for a minute. So Emily, a lot of you guys probably know her from Instagram. I mean, so how many followers do you have on Instagram?
So I have almost 350,000 followers on Instagram.
It's crazy numbers.
200,000 on TikTok.
When did you, let me ask this social media question to you, okay? So, like, did you jump on the TikTok, like, right when it came out, like, 3 years ago? Or were you on it later on?
Honestly, I think I started probably at least a year and a half after everyone was on TikTok. I started pretty late in the game, actually.
Yeah.
But I like it a lot. I think it's a different following than my Instagram. It's a lot.
Is it really?
I think it's a lot younger age group than Instagram and, Facebook, but I think it's really fun. I like sharing all of my golf videos and trick shots with everyone, and I don't know, I think it's a great platform.
Do you do that on Instagram too, like on your shorts or your reels or whatever it's called?
I do.
That's cool. So then, I remember like my friends were like, oh, you should go on TikTok, and I was like, that is not my demographic. Like, they're like, no, you should do it. And this is like in the very beginning.
You'd be surprised.
Oh, I know. And then now I'm like, oh, I should have did it when they told me to. Like that was too. Kinda, not really. I mean, I'm on Instagram. I should, we have an account. I haven't really. I should probably talk to my social team about that and be like, hey, let's focus. I know. I think now. Well, in the beginning, we weren't making a lot of videos, so then it was like, it was like all the dancing was going on too. Like everyone's doing a dance, and I'm like, I'm not dancing. Like I'm not doing like some fake dance across the screen, like to some song I don't even know. Like I'm not doing that. And then now it's more. It's kind of changing though, right? Because you can see it with YouTube and Instagram. They're all going short stuff, right? To compete.
10, 15-second videos that are just
it's like when you start seeing everyone else copying somebody, then it's like, okay, they're threatened.
Exactly.
Well, so I like totally geek out on this stuff because I like to see like, okay, that's interesting.
Your viewers don't know that before the show, we both shared where our families were from. And your family and my family are from the same small region in Italy.
Teeny tiny.
Yeah, very, very, very small. You don't really meet a whole lot of people that are from that region.
See, we're brothers, John. We probably know each other. Like, our families probably know each other.
But one of the reasons I'm on TikTok all the time is because, most Italians like to either eat or cook. I like both.
And talk.
And I find all kind of recipes on TikTok. It's actually pretty cool.
Really? See, I feel like an old man. I'm like, really? That's on there? I mean, I know we totally digressed to TikTok for some random reason, but listen to this, you guys. Literally, John and my family and John's family are from the same small province in Italy, which is like not a popular province. Not like, we're from Rome or something, or whatever it's called, Cambria, right? That's where Rome is. So it's like, you just tell someone, we're from here. It's like a 1 in 60 chance or something. So it's kind of crazy because you just don't see that. I mean, it's cool.
What town is that close to in Italy?
It's a couple of hours outside of Rome.
It's like 2.5 hours, like northeast of Rome.
Okay.
It's really pretty. It looks like a postcard because it's so like all these like stone houses everywhere, and it's like it's the foothills of the Alps. So it's like rugged. I don't know. It looks so cool. I loved it, and the food was so good. And like everybody makes alcohol in their basement. Like there's like these huge old wine barrels. And like this wine is like the best wine you've ever had. Like it tastes like candy. Like it's so sweet, but it totally messes you up. Like for reals. Like there's a little bit. It's so strong. Like they don't regulate it. And I remember we went to there's a big city called Pescara. It's on the east. It's like a half hour away, but it's on the eastern side of the country, on the ocean, right, or on the Adriatic. And we like went to this like Home Depot, whatever they call it there, and it was literally like 2 aisles just winemaking stuff. I was like, what the hell? But so, John, let's go there. Come on, you're in the travel industry. Let's go right now.
Yeah.
I know. I bet the golf courses are beautiful.
Yeah.
I'm like, could you imagine? That'd be so much fun. So then, Emily, how did you find golftrainings.com?
So actually, I've worked for Golftrainings for almost 2 years now, and the previous owner, he reached out over social media to work together to do a partnership, and I told him I'm originally from South Florida. I would really love to come back down here, and it ended up turning into a full-time job. And I told him how much I love training aids. I've used them since I was 4 years old, playing in tournaments, and I talked about some of my favorite ones and how much they've helped me and some of the biggest tournaments I've got to, and it turned into a full-time job, and I'm loving it.
That's
I really
crazy.
enjoy it.
So literally, they like just reached out to you on Instagram and said, "Hey, we want to sponsor a post or sponsor whatever." And you're like, "Nah. I want a job."
Exactly. I wanted to do something more, so I'm very happy with my decision.
Well, but they call it Handle, right? Is it Handle?
Yes,
Or, yeah.
It's Golf for Girl M.
Golf for Girl M. So it's obviously there's an affinity for golf. Emily also played Division.
Yeah, but you're good though, right? It's not like, hi, I'm gonna pose in front of I'm gonna pose with a golf club. It's like, no, you're a golfer and you're good.
Yeah, no, I played one in college, and I played since I was 4. I traveled all over the world playing tournaments.
Yeah, you're the real deal. It's not like it's not like, I'm gonna pose in front of a cart. It's just like.
Exactly. No, I love it.
Right? I mean, especially because people do that, and it's like, being like, actually, because I've seen on golftrainings.com, like, you're kind of like the spokesmodel, right? Like, you're using the products, you're in the, you're giving feedback on it. Like, I think it's really cool that, like, it's kind of a balance, right? Like, being able to show.
Exactly. No, I'm in charge of all of our content creation, and I really enjoy doing it because we
big
make
task.
Yeah, no, it is, but I enjoy it, and I make a lot of like 10, 15-second videos just showing, how to use the training aids and setting it up. And so many of our training aids are so easy to use too. Like there's hundreds out there, but I think everyone that we have on our website is something that's simple, to put together, to use, and really can help a lot of different players. So
how many training aids do you guys carry?
I'm going to say we probably have over 200 SKUs.
Holy crap.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we had more than that when we bought the company, and some of the stuff we kind of parsed out.
You vetted.
Vetted.
You kind of vetted it. You're like, this thing does not work. Like, this is like.
But I will tell you, when we bought the company, one of the things we realized that we needed to really invest in was content, because it's training aids are one of those products where if you open the box and you look at it and you think to yourself, how am I supposed to use it?
Yeah, you're like, what is this? How's this going to
What
work?
is this, right? What is?
It's not self-explanatory. Like none of them are.
So we invest a lot in content, and specifically videos, so that if consumers are looking how to fix a certain part of their game, they can see the video and how it's being used, so that they can then replicate that at the range or in their home.
And that's big, right? Because you can't just take a picture of it and be like, oh, here's the picture of the unit and here's a person holding it. It's like, that's not going to help them figure it out.
Right.
Like, you kind of have to give an example or an instruction on how to use it.
Yes, and probably out of the office once every 2 weeks, filming content, so that we, especially, and that's one of the attractive things about new training aids that come into the market, because they know they can come to us, and we have professional photographers. Obviously Emily knows what she's doing, so we're able to develop really good content for new products.
So let me ask this question then, like how much time does it take to put together that content? Like let's say I send you a new training aid, right? Obviously the manufacturer might say, oh, here's our imagery and here it is, but you're like, yeah, that's not kind of how we like to do it. We want it to look a certain way. We want to show people how to use it.
Takes a lot of time. At least every time I go out and shoot, it's a couple hours on either the range or at the course. There's a lot of.
I could imagine. Yeah, it's like a lot of time.
No, it does, and then editing and just figuring out too with which social platform or YouTube, it's longer videos, Instagram, TikTok shorter, figuring out which content is best for each platform. But it does take a lot of time, but, we're able to target every different group.
So are you the only person like making the content then right now for golf training aids?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes.
So then let me ask a second question then. So like if somebody comes to you, I'm assuming it probably takes a while for it to like be ready to sell, right? Like you probably get the product, but then you're like, okay, we got to make this thing look a certain way and we need to be able to use it and explain it. That's a lot of work. I couldn't imagine, because training aids are different. It's not like you buy a new piece of equipment, right? And you're like, we already know what this thing does. It's a driver, right? Like I know what it does. But like when you give us, when you get some random looking like hook, with some things on it or something, you're like, what is that? What would you say? Here's a question for you. What would you say is the hottest training age right now, based on like your guys' experience? I know one already. I already know. I was going to say it.
Probably the divot board right now.
I knew it. That's what I was going to say myself.
I love it.
Yeah, it's a great product. It really is.
Such a smart idea.
Yeah, that's probably our hottest selling product. And I will tell you, the other thing that is interesting that we've learned is some of the training aids that were created 25 years ago that are still really effective. There's a market for those. So one of the things we're doing is we're looking for products that were maybe very, very popular 20 years ago, and making slight modifications to them and relaunching them with where there are slight improvements. And I'll give you an example of one that we're going to launch later this month. We own the Power Fan, which is
Oh, I remember that thing.
A swing fan, yeah, and it's been around for 25 years. And when we were talking about making some improvements to the product, Dane shared with us, our GM, that one of the long drive champions uses it in his workouts all the time. So we reached out to Maurice Allen. Maurice is a 30-time winner on the pro long drive circuit, and loves the product, uses it every day and it's part of his workout routine. And we're going to relaunch it with his custom grips that have counterbalance weights on the end, his workout routine, and he's going to get behind it. Loves the product, already uses it, and we're going to relaunch that later this month.
So, like, let me ask this question. When you say relaunch, like, so you guys own the rights to it now, or the name, or the patent, or like, what's the story with all that?
We have the trademark, and we're gonna use that and get it back out, market it.
That's smart. I didn't even think about that. That's really smart, John. Like those training aids back in the day that, like, I wouldn't say they fizzled. They just kind of, like, the people who made them don't make them anymore, right? Or moved on in their lives or whatever it might be.
So this is a true story, but
Brilliant.
Dane happens to also keep a collection of old products. So he has a huge collection of old training aids.
It's called the warehouse.
Yeah, he's a little bit of a pack rat. But he pulled out this product. I'm like, what is that? And I won't share the name because we're going to try to recreate this. But the inventor of it is unfortunately no longer with us. He passed away, and it was very successful 20 years ago. And there are other products that are like it, but this is actually better. So we're excited about seeing how we're in the process of trying to find a manufacturer to make it.
Dude, that's next level stuff, John. Like, for real. I mean, it really is, because it's not like I'm coming into it and I'm going to buy an e-com store and I'm going to, like, sell stuff, right? You're like, yeah, I'm going to do that, but then I'm going to find those training aids that, like, don't exist anymore, or people have them but they don't make them whatever it might be. Like, that's so smart, because there's probably hundreds of them out there, thousands.
There's a lot, and you'll hear a lot about them over the next 6 months, because there's I'd say that there are 4 products that we're in the process of trying to find manufacturers, because we think there's an opportunity to sell them today.
So are you looking, like, overseas for the manufacturing, or are you trying to do U.S.?
A little bit of both. We have the nice thing about being in business for 30 years in one place, you've identified manufacturers here in the local area. So we have die cutters, plastic manufacturers. We have a lot of those companies here in West Palm Beach and in the port area that we use. But we also,
big time.
We also go overseas. Yeah, I'd much rather do them here. You have a lot more control.
I mean, the cost is a little bit higher, obviously, because it's in the U.S., but that's marginal, considering how big of a pain in the ass it is to get stuff from overseas right now. That it's like,
it is really crazy. The shipping, the transportation costs of getting a product from, say, China or Korea, it's astronomical. So you're right. The price or the cost gap is really narrowed if you can find a manufacturer here in the States who can do it.
Yeah, and that's not going away anytime soon, right? It's not like, oh, COVID. It's not even a COVID thing. At this point, it's past COVID. It's more like, yeah, COVID's always going to be there, but I don't think it's like, once prices go up, they're not going to go down, right? Like, shipping's not going to go down all of a sudden. It just doesn't. No. The savings you might have overseas on a product, you double it, because that's what's going to cost to ship it here, essentially.
Yeah.
And then you're like, well, I could have made that in the United States, and I would have made it for $3 less right now, or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
I mean, it's cool. You guys are pivoting too in that way, where you're not just focusing just on the e-com side, but, like, you guys want to be the training aid epicenter, right? For anything that's training aid.
Be like the one-stop shop for training aids, and we started
because before
rangefinders now too, and
you have what? I'm sorry.
Rangefinders.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So we're trying to get into the electronic side of the business also. So
that's smart.
Simulators, launch monitors, rangefinders.
It's like an untapped market that you guys never really did, right? Because before you were just doing just training aids, and now there's a whole electronic side too,
Yeah.
which is blowing up like crazy because they're becoming more affordable, and being able to, dude, Emily, you're gonna be busy as hell, man.
Oh yeah, we already are.
Like you're gonna be like running around, like, okay, tomorrow you're doing this. You're like, I don't even know how to use that yet. Oh, we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Go figure out how to work that simulator. So, what? I mean, you guys have a big presence on Amazon too, right?
We do. Yeah. When we bought the company, we obviously looked at the traffic that we get on our website, which was decent for a company our size. But if you really want to sell, you want access to those third-party marketplaces. So we sell on Amazon, Walmart, eBay, with Amazon obviously being the biggest of the three.
Now, are you shipping it yourself out of your location, or are you doing like
we do both
FBA?
FBA and FBM. FBA is where you house the product at Amazon's warehouses, so yeah, we do both. We ship it from our warehouse, which is FBM, and through Amazon.
That's smart. I mean, you guys are really diversified now, right? It seems like, I mean, were you guys that diversified prior to you purchasing the company, or no? In terms of traffic sources?
No, I think the previous owners started to get into Amazon, but I think we took it to the next level. I mean, it's expensive. Number one, it's expensive to sell on Amazon, and two, you need capital to be able to buy the inventory and house it there. And I think we were able to do that because our company is well capitalized, and we're able to play in those marketplaces.
Yeah, because I mean, like, even Divot Board, like, I know you guys have it on your site. I've seen you guys. I know you guys have it on Amazon because I've seen it saying it. So I know, like, you're really, you sell lots of products. What I think is smart, because what I think is great about training aids is that they're relatively low priced. You know what I mean, when it comes to golf equipment. So people can just purchase it and not think twice about it, or have to like explain to their wives like, oh, I spent $500 on a driver, right?
Yeah.
It's more like, oh, I just bought this training, it's only $40. Like, it's okay, it's cool. I think like this, I call it the smalls, right? The smalls of golf. Like, I think like it's a great area to be in. So then I mean, you're not a professional golfer, are you, John? Are you just like, are you like good or what?
I'm a 7 handicap.
You're
love
good.
to play, love the competition, going 2 or 3 golf trips. Despite every year, I've played definitely all over the country, and played in Europe and Ireland. So yeah, I just love I love the game. I love the game of golf. Emily's a better golfer than I am.
Yeah, have you and Emily played against each other yet? I want to know who won.
We are soon.
Yeah, we're gonna play in a tournament together.
We'll be on the same team.
Yeah, we'll be on the
We're on the same team though. Yeah. You're like, oh, we're doing best ball. I'll be like,
oh,
okay,
no, who has a lower handicap. I'm excited.
So Emily was telling me before the show that she was on Holy Moly, which I didn't even realize that.
Yeah. A year ago.
Well, she didn't tell any of us.
Really?
My buddy saw her on TV.
Mm-hmm. I did. Yeah. I had a lot of people reach out that were going, oh, I just saw you on ABC's Holy Moly. But no, it was a really neat experience.
What season was that? 1 or 2 or 3?
The third one, I believe.
Ask her if the water was cold. Ask her if the water was cold.
Was the water freezing?
It was filmed every night in LA at 2, 3 a.m. And oh my goodness, I think it was 33 degrees. And when you got knocked in that water at 33 degrees, oh my gosh, it was freezing.
Like, it shocks you. You're in shock.
It does. And I'm from South Florida originally, so
you're never cold.
I was excited to get back to Florida, but it was a really neat experience. I met a lot.
So, like, did they reach out to you, or did you reach out to them, or what happened?
They did. They actually reached out over Instagram, one of the producers, and I think it was over a 6-month interview process until I finally went on the show. Yeah, we had a couple Zoom interviews, couple ones over the phone, and then
Whoa.
they let me know that I was coming out there, and I think it was March that I finally went out.
Of what year? Last year or the year before?
It was last year. Yes.
Why did they film at 2:00 in the morning? What the heck?
Because they just wanted it to be dark and just the set.
Oh, you can see the set all cool looking.
It was so cool. It was right in like the middle of like a valley too, in California. It was beautiful. I wish I could.
But you didn't win though, right? You didn't get the green jacket, whatever they say.
No, I did not. The cold definitely got to me, but it was fun.
How far did you get?
I went through the first. I got the hardest hole. It was the one with the windmills, and I had a great putt. I actually was closer than the guy I was competing against with my putting, but got hit by the windmill, and then
The miniature golf gods were against you.
Yes, it was. It was fun though.
That's so crazy because when you told me, I was like, you were? Cause we've watched all the seasons, but I guess I wasn't really paying attention. I don't know.
Yeah.
I want to be on it. That'd be fun.
A lot of people have reached out, and when it was live on ABC, a lot of people reached out, and then I think it's on Hulu now and a couple other platforms.
That's crazy. That's a life goal right there, John, for me to be on Holy Moly. So
Yeah, there you go.
So what, like, this year, what's coming up? You know, it sounds like you're saying earlier about, you know, the new equipment you're recreating, right, or redeveloping, which I think is freaking so smart. Oh my God, it's so smart. What else is going on? Like, what else are you gonna be doing this year? Because golf season's about to start.
So, January is my first time going to the PGA show, and we identified a handful of products that are new, that we really like, and we're actively marketing those, trying to help the owners or inventors bring those products to market. So, Golf Forever is one. Golf Forever is a swing aid. It's got a D3 swing weight in it, and it also has some resistance bands where you can do a full workout with it. It's a really, really great product. It's called Golf Forever.
Oh yeah, I've heard of that.
And they just signed. So the funny thing is, when they invented it, one of the guys who's part of the original company was Scotty Scheffler's strength trainer, and Scotty's been uses it. He's kind of a superstitious guy, and uses it before every tournament. He takes it with him, and now he'll be endorsing the product.
Oh wow!
So that's the product that we're selling. Tour Aim is another one. Young guy from California created an alignment device that has pre-drilled holes so that you can use it for swing plane analysis, you can use it for putting, alignment when you're at the range. It's a great product, not super expensive. We're selling that, and then there's a few other products that we're also marketing.
Wow. This is going to be a big year for you, right? Because this is going to be your first full year, especially with all the changes you've made, too. Like, positive changes, like, cool stuff you're doing. Like,
things
that's
are
crazy.
Good. Things are good. It's good that people are golfing again. You know, it's, you know, we're fortunate. I wouldn't say we're lucky because we went into this knowing that golf was on the rise again. But we're very fortunate that people want to use our products. Anybody that is a semi-serious golfer, whether they're a 25 handicap or a 2 handicap, want to get better. Which is, you know, our tagline is there's a better player in everybody, or everyone, I should say. And it's so true. I mean, everybody wants to shoot lower scores and hit the ball further. That's the common theme with every golfer.
Yeah, everyone's trying to get better, right? I mean, that's just what it comes down to. I mean, like I think.
Do you play?
Do I play?
Yeah.
I try to play.
How often do you go out and play?
I play. I'm not that good though. That's one thing, right? Like that's kind of like my journey. Is I'm always trying to get better because I'm like the normal average person who like used to be good like a million years ago, and then had a family, had a job, and then like didn't play all that much. And so now like I'm always trying to find good equipment to get better.
Yeah.
How young were you when you started playing?
Like 5 probably.
Oh, really?
I was little, but I never got like crazy good. I wish I did. You know, but once you have kids, it's like you have no time to play. I mean, I didn't. But now I have lots of time now, so it's all good.
How old are your kids?
They're 9 and 12.
Oh.
So I'll give you a little trick.
Sure, I want to hear this.
My son played baseball and soccer and really didn't really like either one. And then I took him out to play golf with me, and he got in the golf cart and I let him drive. And he was instantly hooked. So because I let him drive the golf cart, whenever Dad was going out to practice playing golf, he wanted to come with me.
Oh, that's
and
cool.
Some of the best days I've had with my son are on the golf course. You know, he played high school golf, pretty good player, and but yeah, it was a great way to bond with your child.
Yeah, I take my kids out. It's fun. You know, like they fight and whatever and argue, and it's like. What is it we did? This is a true story. We went golfing. My dad and I and my boys went golfing like 3 weeks ago, and I got in trouble with the ranger because I let my 9-year-old drive the cart, and this dude would not leave me alone. Like for the next 3 holes, he's like, "You're not allowed to have him drive the cart. You're not allowed to have him drive the cart. It's against the insurance." And I'm like, "Whatever, dude." I'm like, "Okay, he's not driving the cart." But I tried. So that's a true story. I filmed it on my GoPros to see what, and I'm sent to my editor because I'm like, I got to see this because this is actually pretty funny. Because the way we did it was, we only gave him a 5. We're like, you can get a 5 on it. The most you can hit is a 5 on every hole, right? And so then at the end of the end, of course, my 9-year-old wins, right? Because I got a 45, and I was like, bro, you didn't get a 45. Like you got 1,000 probably, but like we don't want to slow up play. It was fun. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
I wish my older son doesn't really like it all that much. He thinks practicing is boring, is what he said. And then my younger son is good, but then everyone's like, oh, he plays baseball, and they're like, oh, his golf swing is gonna mess up his baseball swing, and I'm like, is that really true?
I don't believe
I'm
that.
like, that's all BS. I think that's BS.
We have a training aid for that.
Do you? What's it called? Oh, okay. You could have sold me on it. You could like, oh, it's the whatever 2000. Well, I think it's awesome what you guys are doing. And I think it's really smart too because I mean, you guys are the source for training aids. Like you've always have been, right? And especially now. I mean, I think people go onto Amazon and they only see a small fraction of the training aids that are out there, right? Just all the big names essentially. And what you're doing now is you're bringing in like, yo, there's a lot more training aids out there you could be using that could help you, and you should know more about it. And like, I mean, it's an easy sell, right? If it works and you get better, then buy it.
Look, I still have training aids that I purchased 15 years ago in my garage. The first training aid I ever bought was, and again, my son was a pretty good player, but he wasn't a great putter. And I bought the putting arc. It's a wooden. They don't make the wooden version of the putting arc anymore. But I still have it in my garage. Still have it.
Really?
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Maybe you should bring it back. You should bring the wood version back.
There you go. That's
No.
all right.
There's so many products out there. I bet there's like so many products that just like disappeared, right? Like for one reason or another, that are just like. That could be a good YouTube series, like hunting for training aids. Like, oh, you know, like those people that go looking for used clubs. That could just be Emily looking for old training aids and being like, does this thing still work? And then it's all like some weird thing. But
Hey, maybe we could do something.
Yeah,
That's
we
actually a
could.
good idea. Yeah.
that'd do really well, I bet. I don't know. I mean, seriously, I didn't really think like, when you said that you were doing that. Like, I'm like, that is the smartest thing because no one ever does that, right? Like, everyone thinks like technology evolves. Like, you're not going back and making the same golf ball from 30 years ago, right? Or golf club, or whatever it might be.
But
And so,
the golf swing hasn't changed. You know.
No, and I don't think training aids really change either, right? I mean, I think people are missing out on stuff that I think it's so smart. When you said that, I was like, oh my God, this is a smart guy. No, like for reals, that's really smart. I love hearing this stuff. But I think there's a plethora of like products out there that are amazing that just disappeared for one reason or another, and to bring it back is really cool. So like what is your biggest way of promotion then, would you say? Like, is it mainly YouTube videos? Is it mainly your Instagram? Is it like, what is it for products?
So we do a little bit of everything. We're in multiple marketing channels. So we obviously do a lot with Emily on Instagram and TikTok. TikTok is a recent addition. We still do the old-fashioned email. We have
your list has to be ginormous. Like,
I would say for a company our size, it's pretty big, and getting bigger by the day. So we still do a couple emails a week.
I see them.
Yeah, we're actually thinking about starting.
I saw the divot board one this morning.
Oh, nice.
With Emily going like this, and then it's like, yep, I saw that one this morning. I was like, I'm talking to these guys today.
We do a lot of pay-per-click with Google, Microsoft.
You do Facebook ads or not really?
We do Facebook, Instagram, and again TikTok. So yeah, we're in all the major social networks.
Well, then plus like what you're doing with Emily's following and Emily's, her personal stuff, whatever she's, people see it and like, oh, I've seen that before, What do you like most about training aids? Like what made you excited about training aids of all the e-com that was out there for golf?
Well, like I said earlier, I think one of the things that was exciting was a really a purely business reason, which is there really wasn't a well-known aggregator of multiple products, training products in one place, and that's how we found Golf Training Aids. And I think there's an opportunity to grow that side of the business.
For sure.
Bring more products, create new product, and offer to consumers.
Well, I'm excited for you guys. I think it's really cool. Like, I had no idea. Like, all I knew was like ancient history with my dad, and then like, I talked to you guys a couple years ago. I think it was even before Emily. I think we reviewed some products, and I signed up for your affiliate program or something. It was a long time ago. So like to see it now is like, it just, I don't know, it's a whole other level, right? So I think it's really cool to see that. And I had no idea. I didn't even know there was a new owner, to be honest. So I think that's cool.
Yeah.
Well, I'm really glad that you guys were on the show today. Where do people obviously know your URL, but what's your URL in case people don't know it yet after saying it 1,000 times today?
Great. So if you want to buy a training aid, go to golftrainingaids.com, and it's golftrainingaids, all one word, .com. We have pretty much every training product known to man. And you can find it on our website.
They're everywhere, you guys. Like, for real. If you just type in golf training aid, like, they're number one, like, automatically, essentially. And then if you start typing in like random training aids, they'll probably have that too. So
yeah, we have a pretty good URL. That was another reason why. One of the other reasons we bought the company. So yeah.
Yeah, like, you literally have the best URL, right? Like, I mean, it's like literally the search term. I mean, you should have John, did you buy those other URLs too, so you could like, just in case? Yeah. Didn't cost that much probably. It's like $30. I'll do that.
Yeah.
Well, I'm really excited to have you guys on the show and talk to you, and I appreciate you taking time today. You guys got to support golftrainingaids.com because, I mean, they are the source. Like, honestly, I can't think of anybody else. And you can't say Amazon because, like, the stuff that's on Amazon is pretty much their stuff. So it's like, if you guys want a training aid to get better at golf, then you have to check out their website. And as you can see, they're really cool, and you guys gotta support them. So I appreciate you guys being here today, and I will see you guys in the next episode.
Thanks, Paul.
Thanks for having us.